project. So in this short video, I'll be providing an updated review for C6 Lisa. Actually, it's not really an updated because I actually realized I never did a review for her, so this will be my first time. But it's updated in the sense that I recently just got her to C6. Because if you look on the current, this May 2022 Paimon shop, she is one of the bargains here, so to speak, and I did switch my star glitter for her. So that's what I did, and I was just missing the one constellation for her. So I was, I guess, lucky maybe early on. I think in the early game, way early, when we're using our standard pulls, I think I did get one of her or maybe two of her. This was a long time ago, so I don't remember. But anyway, so that helped me get her to C6. So other standard characters, in case you guys are not aware, if you're newer especially, Amber and Kaya and Lisa, these three, do not appear on the other banners. You cannot get them anywhere else except for on the standard banner here. And only if you are lucky, because this standard banner actually has a lot of characters, standard characters, and a lot of standard weapons on there as well that you can end up getting. So it's a very hard to just specifically get these characters, Amber and Kaya, because they are not rated up. They're just on there. So anyway, and speaking of the other two, I am nowhere near C6 for the other two. I think I might be close to C5 or maybe around there for Kaya. I think I'm only at C4 for him, and I think my Amber is only at C3. Not that those matter so much, but Kaya and Lisa of those three are the better characters. So that's why I'm willing to go for the C6. Anyway, so I wanted to do this video because it was a long time coming in the sense that it took a while, and I figured not many people talk about her, obviously, especially since there are better characters out there, but I decided to just go ahead and do this. So here we go. Alrighty, so let's just get started. So we're gonna fight the boss in just a moment, but let's just quickly show her build. She's not like super great or anything, just so we're clear. But for early game players, especially free-to-play players, and I know Enviosity, who made his brand off of this, where he leveled up the main characters, the original starting characters, and the free characters. That's his brand, and so definitely mad respect for that. So yeah, anyway, I do have her at friendship level 10, and I did level her up to level 80 out of 80. I was contemplating if I should go ahead and farm the Electro Cube boss for her and get her to 80 out of 90 for this video, but I decided let's just leave it here because this is more reasonable, because I think that later game players would have stopped using her already, or mid game players would have stopped using her already, so they wouldn't have spent the resources on her. I went ahead and just did it because as we know, we're kind of in a down period for 2.6 right now, and moving forward, it's probably going to be continuously a down period. Not a bad thing, because it's a good way to have us to save up our primo gems and also to level up our existing characters. So anyway, let's take a look at her build. I want to make this clear. Her build is not super strong or anything like that. Her artifact pieces are not like the best. Those were farmed really early in the game, and I just obviously did not bother refarming pieces for this video or for her. And for this video, I will not be swapping her pieces out to take other characters' pieces. Of course, her potential could be higher. I just want to make that clear. But I did level up her pieces that she did have, at least to 20 out of 20, which we'll talk about. So her crit rate is not high, as you saw, and her crit damage is also not high. Okay, in terms of weapons, I've given her the Hakushin ring because she does need energy recharge. She's a very slow character to use, and she actually does need energy recharge because basically the majority of her damage comes from her burst. Let's just put it plain and simple. And the passive here, as you can see, I'm not going to read it, but it's about elemental damage. It's about, electro reactions, basically. So obviously she's electro and she's a catalyst user. So what better person to put than this, okay? Originally, I had started leveling this weapon up for Yaimiko. I did not go for Yaimiko's Kagura's Verity, as you guys know, but I did give Yaimiko the Witsith, as you can see here. So that's because Yaimiko serves a different purpose, and people like to compare these two very often, and even I said this before. Lisa is basically like the 4-star version of Yaimiko, which in a way, yes, and also in a way, no, because Yaimiko is more of a damage-focused character. Now, you could probably build your Lisa to be like that, and that's okay too. The only unfortunate part is that Lisa is just really slow to use. So that's why you would just use her as a support, which is why I titled this as a good early game Electro support catalyst character. Definitely, you can build her as a sub DPS. I don't think she can serve a DPS role though, unless you build her that way. So let's go through the remaining weapons since we're on this screen already. Okay, so since we're already on the Witsith, so again, if you want to build your Lisa like a Yaimiko, sure, you can definitely use the Witsith. She will benefit from all three of those types of possible passives that are random. So that's fine. You can build her that way if you use her that way. I don't use her that way. I use her as support. Hence, I gave her the Hakushin ring, which we already talked about. Energy recharge is a big deal. The Everlasting Moon Glow is not preferred to have in general because it's not a must-have weapon even. But this is not even a weapon that's good for her because she can't even heal. Obviously, Lisa's not a healer, so we skip that. Lost Prayers, again, this is a crit rate focused weapon, substat, and this is a damage dealing weapon for a character that you're going to keep on the field a little longer. So that's not Lisa's role unless you make her into that role. So I would say this is an okay weapon, but not for her. The Oathsworn Eye, this was the event, the most recent event weapon, I believe, that was free from like last patch 2.5. And this was a good weapon. It's a very universal weapon. We talked extensively about this. I've given it to Mona, as you can see here. This weapon would also do well on Lisa. It's fine because it's energy recharge as the passive, so why not, right? But it is triggered by using her elemental skill, which Lisa's elemental skill is kind of weak and kind of lackluster, but regardless, this is a good weapon overall. Moving along, Dodo Hotels, this is way back. This is from 1.6, so only certain players will have this. This one is also a very universal weapon, but it is focused on normal attacks and charge attacks in the passive, and those are not the focus of her attacks. In my opinion, arguably, her main damage comes really from her burst. So, and her normal attacks just take too long, and her charge attacks take too long. Like, she's really, really slow. So I'll demonstrate after this. So this is not recommended. I'm going to do a summary of the weapons right after this, so I'll quickly talk about it again. Solar Pearl, again, another crit rate focused weapon. I would skip this for her. You could, if you want to use her for her normal attack and her elemental skills, and it does increase her burst too, but I don't really think that this is necessary for her. There are better users in the game that can benefit from this. Sacrificial Fragments, again, this is the best for Sucrose, but this is an okay weapon for Lisa because she can utilize the Elemental Mastery, and arguably as a support role, Elemental Mastery is actually pretty good for her, especially if you're going to trigger lots of reactions for her, because her burst does have an AoE, which, as you guys will recall, from the trial and test dungeons every patch, she's often, not always, but often, one of your side characters that you get in the party by default, because they want you to trigger those reactions and get the energy and all that stuff. So this is okay for her. So this is an okay weapon. Thrilling Tales, I've seen many people use this on her, and also, of course, on Barbara, on Sucrose, the really, really main support characters, where they just swap them out and swap them in, so to speak, so that you can get the, swap out, sorry, so that the next character gets a 48% bonus. So this is okay too, but this doesn't really benefit her in a major way, because she doesn't need the HP percentage, she doesn't scale off of it. Another one that's also very free-to-play friendly is the Mappa Mare. This is also Elemental Mastery substat. This one is very similar to the Sacrificial Fragments, but the Sacrificial Fragment, as you can see, has double or more than for the Elemental Mastery, but the passive allows her to do her elemental skill up to twice, whereas this one's passive is really just triggering an elemental reaction that gives elemental damage. So actually, arguably, if you have to pick one of the two, the Mappa Mare is actually more suitable for her, especially early game, than the Sacrificial Fragments, because doing two of her elemental skills is kind of pointless, in my opinion, whereas this one just gives her elemental reaction damage, and yeah, that's not bad, right? Okay, the Frostbearer, not many people level this up or bother to even craft this, but this is from Dragonspine, and this one is an okay weapon, because it can have the potential to drop the Everfrost Icicle, and therefore you can potentially get the Electro plus Cryo reaction. But this is not like a must-have, but this is an okay universal weapon for many characters, but not many players went and crafted this or leveled this up. I'm doing it for collection purposes only, as you can see, but I'm not like leveling up either. No one else is really using it. Favonius Codex, this is a very universal weapon. I think most players will probably just put this on her, and that's totally fine. The passive does require her to have crit, though, in order to activate getting the extra elemental particles, though, so keep that in mind. Blackcliff, again, another crit damage, focused weapon. This is, again, for a stat-stick purpose, but also for a damage-focused character, and she is not going to be that, in my opinion, so I wouldn't bother putting this on her, but you could use it as a placeholder for her. And then these ones are just repeats of what I already had. So to sum it up, just as a summary statement here, any of the crit rate or crit damage weapons can be skipped for her. Any of the attack percentage weapons, also you can skip all the HP ones as well and healing ones, but the attack percentage ones are good for her. The energy recharge and elemental mastery weapons are good for her, as well as potentially the thrilling tales if you want to just swap her in and out. This is the exception to the HP one I just said, but you can do that as well. So hopefully you found that part helpful. For her artifacts, her best in slot is the 4-piece Thundering Fury. Now this is early game thoughts, but realistically, you wouldn't bother putting anything else on her at this point. Of course, if you're building her later in the game, you'll have access to more like artifact types. I can easily see another viable one that's easy to get early game is the Wanderer's Troop, the 4-piece set, because then she get a 1.5% bonus, 1.5 times bonus with a 4-piece set, and she gets Elemental Mastery bonus for the 2-piece portion, right? So I can see that being a very viable option for her too. Or you can do like a mixture, maybe like a 2-piece Thundering Fury here for the Electro bonus, plus 2-piece Wanderers, so that you can get the Elemental Mastery. That's okay too. But as you can see for the 4-piece, the way that I set her up here is that just so that she can create elemental reactions and get that bonus here. And that's the whole point of her Hakushin Ring. So that's why it works out well in this setup. But I can see other people using the Wanderer's Troop for her. I can see you can definitely use the 2-piece like Shimenawas, Gladiators, or any of the 2 new ones, Vermilion or Echoes, because you can get the 2-piece attack plus 18% bonus, and that's okay. That's universal, right? So that's okay too. So those are your options. The other one is the other one that's not as popular. The other Thundering one, I forget the name of it. This one, I think. Not Thundering Fear, sorry. It's the there's another Thundering one. I just keep forgetting the name. It's one of the more niche builds, if I have them anymore. Forgive me, I don't remember the names of all the things. This one, yes, the Thunder Soother, there we go. These ones, as you can see here, the 2-piece set is not necessarily good, so you would have to go for the 4-piece if you want to increase her electro damage by 35%, so that's okay. But anyway, let's just quickly go through the pieces that I do have on her. Again, knowing that I wanted to level up her, or increase her energy recharge a little bit more, because she's really slow, and she requires it. And really, you just need her for her burst, more or less. And also, yeah, I did put attack on her here, but yeah, another option would have been energy recharge or elemental mastery, but it is what it is. I want to get her 4-piece set, and electro damage is the one. And then I did put a crit rate here on her. You're probably thinking, well, I just said like she's not an attacker, why bother? Definitely, I completely agree with you. I could have put something else here. I could have put, let me see, attack percentage would have been a good one. Elemental mastery would have been a good one. I could definitely have put those on here because this is my off piece. I could have put anything like that on here actually. Let me just see here quickly. Elemental mastery might be a good one actually. Let me just see. Because then we can create more reactions. Let me see if I have one that's good, or maybe I'll just give her this attack circlet one. This one has energy and crit damage on it. Like she doesn't need the crit rate, that's for sure. But yeah, I don't have like great pieces, and I'm not going to give her like anything from someone else either. So we'll just leave her for crit rate for now. But yeah, you can definitely do it that way. Okay, let's just move on then. Constellations. So I want to make this clear. She is only powerful at C6, and many other longer term players and bigger streamers have already noted that. So let's just go through them. So C1 allows her to regenerate some more energy when she hits them with her Violet Arc. And Violet Arc, just so we're clear, is her E skill, and Lightning Rose is her Q, okay? Her burst. So with her E, she can get more energy back, a little bit more. And then this one, holding down her E, her Violet Arc, she can increase her defense and also her resistance. But I can tell you right now, holding it down is really painful. She takes forever. And then this one is plus 3 levels to her burst, Lightning Rose. This one is plus 1 to 3 for her stacks, basically, for her Lightning Rose, for her burst. So that increases her damage. This is plus 3 levels for her E skill. And this last one, her C6, why people keep saying C6 is her best, is because when she takes to the field, she will apply 3 stacks of her Violet Arc status onto the nearby opponent. So right when she gets onto the field, she'll apply 3 stacks to the opponent, which is her E, and then this effect can only occur once every 5 seconds. So that's not horrible. So her E is also a big source of her damage, but it's really slow. So I would argue that her burst is more practically used. I would rather, and I want to make this clear, I leveled her up her normal and all that stuff way back. I don't use this character, but yeah, I would say you don't even need to level up her normal attack. It's up to you. You can leave it at 6 or lower. Okay, and then like her E, I did level up to 7, as you can see, but it's plus 3, so it's 10. But like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal either, but I can see it being useful because you kind of want some conduction, right? But you do need to hold down the conduction. As you can see, there's a press form and a hold form. I'm going to do it before we go to the boss, but yeah, anyway, it's not really preferred. Press form is easier, but hold form is just really annoying. And then the last one is her burst, which we already know, and many players already know what that does. It just creates an AoE where it consistently throws electro bolts at it, and then you can do reactions within it. Next, we have hits by her charged attacks, applies the conductive status, which is okay, but you would never really do the charge attacks, I'll be honest. And then opponents hit by her lightning rose, her Q will have their defense decrease, which is not bad. Right, and then lastly, this is just for her making potions. All right, so let's just get to it. In terms of team compositions, anyone that you can create, if you're using her as a supportive role like myself, just make sure that you have other elemental reaction characters with her, and then you're good. So in my team, I'm gonna pair her just for the shielding purpose, because I don't want her to get hit and interrupted. So I have Zhongli on here. I have Raiden Shogun for the elemental resonance for lightning, and also I have I'm going to be using, because we're fighting the fire boss, the fire flower, so we're going to use Kamisato Ayato to break the shield, but also to conduct the electricity. Okay, so that's what I've decided to do. So before we go, I'm just going to quickly show what I mean. So that's her press, and then her hold takes forever. You have to hold it down, and then like, yeah, then like you can, it just takes forever. Like that, by the time you do all, and then it takes, like, you see the cooldown is really long. So it's just not worth doing, I'll be honest. But yeah, for the sake of doing this, I will let it finish cooling down and then we're going to do it. Okay. All right, let's do this. So let's shield up and let's break the shield. Break the shield first. Okay, and then we can throw this for electro charge. We can throw up her thing, right, you know? And then, like, we can just focus on doing his, like, you know, elemental reactions, basically. So as you can see, really, she's just there to give, you know, some reactions. Like, I don't even have to do anything with her. Like, she can just kill it by having her, you know, electro there. And then, of course, his water was also there. As you can see, she's pretty straightforward to use. Yeah, so here's, like, what her normal obviously looks like and her charge. She just takes forever to attack. That's why I don't like using this character. She's just really, really slow. See, like, she spins around and then she holds it. It's not fast like the other charge attack characters. Her bolts are really, like, slow and lackluster, in my opinion. So, yeah. Anyway, I just want to throw this out there. Now, nothing wrong with her. I just want to make this clear. Like, she's a fine character, but it's just that there's better characters already in the game, right? But I wanted to put this out there because it took me a long time to get her to C6, and I'm just happy to show her off in that sense. But, like, she's not, like, a great character. I want to be very clear here. But to those who love her, like, she can be a good character if you build her into, like, a DPS or sub-DPS role. But she's also just being fine, in my opinion, as a support. And just so we're clear, I love big channels and big whales out there. They use her in some niche comps, and she can do really well. So I do want to point that out, that she has her niche uses. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for the next one. I'm going to be talking about other things, so we'll see you guys